All right, it's 2:05, so should we get started? All right. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you. Welcome and thank you for coming to the Professional Services Contracting Opportunities presentation and Q&A session. We're so glad you're here. For those of you who have been here all day, thank you, and we hope you gained a lot of new insight into the port's opportunities. And if you're just dropping in for this workshop, welcome. We're glad to have you. These presentations are being recorded and will be available on our website shortly. Some simple housekeeping. Today's format is a webinar, and so participants will be able to ask questions in the chat only. So please, introduce yourself. Take time now to find the chat feature and enter your name, your firm name, and what your specialty or focus, so we can get to know who folks are. And Tiffany Tatum will be monitoring the chat for questions or comments. So thank you so much, Tiffany, for doing that. My name is Elizabeth Alexander Toots, and I'm the Senior Contracts Analyst here at the Port. Some of you may recognize me from my previous role at CMD, but I've been honored and excited to join the Port. Again, I'm here with Tiffany Tatum, who's monitoring the chat and who deserves a big round of applause for all of her work today. So thank you, Tiffany. Let me see if I can figure out how to change this. Okay, there we go. By the end of today's presentation, you'll be able to answer the following. What kinds of professional services work happens on the Port? What's the difference between public procurement and private agreements? And what contracts are coming down the line? And where should I look for opportunities along the waterfront? The Port is truly a gateway to a world-class city. Our staff and our partners help us achieve this vision of a vibrant and diverse waterfront experience that enriches the city and our bay. Speaking of our partners that help us achieve our vision, we'd like to hear from you. For those of you, could you find the chat feature and enter? Have you ever done work on the Port before? Have you been a prime? Have you been a sub? Have you been both? Or are you looking to find your first opportunity? Great. So we're glad to see folks returning and still interested in working on new opportunities. And we're excited that there's new folks who are interested in the Port. And we hope that you will be part of all of the economic revitalization that's going on in the Port. And we hope you will, propose and form teams on our upcoming contracts. So welcome. The Ports Authority is a 7.5 miles between Aquatic Park and the India Basin. In addition to being a destination on our own right, we also border a diverse array of neighborhoods and commercial districts. We are a full-time maritime port with as diverse enterprises as cruise ships, international cargo shipping, water taxis, and ferry and excursion boats. Professional services opportunities related to these industries may have to do with coastal engineering, hazardous material identification and testing, and design work related to historic ports. And of course, we are known for our parks, our civic and entertainment activities that attract local residents and visitors alike. These activities provide professional service work along the waterfront for things like design and maintenance, tenant improvements, but also short and long-term business endeavors. The Port's land is an open space network of parks and pathways. We focus on how to enhance recreation and value from these resources, park activation and events. Professional services opportunities related to these parks might be in design, maintenance, and upkeep, as well as stakeholder engagement. And the Port of San Francisco is committed deeply to eliminating racial disparities in all of its policies, processes, decisions, and resource allocations. The city of San Francisco and its waterfront is a place that intentionally welcomes everyone, celebrates diversity, and measures its success by how its services and governance champion equality. The Port of San Francisco and the waterfront land it manages strives to be a place of opportunity and success. The port prioritizes equity as a core value and is committed to advancing racial justice and racial equity. As you consider the breadth and of commercial and recreational uses of port property, which of the following disciplines do you see the port as having a need for? So take a look at the list and please enter into the chat which opportunities you think is prime level work on port contracts. All right, you're onto it. Yes, this is a trick question because it's true. All of these types of work can be done at the prime level. We have a need for all of these kinds of work. So 100% is the correct answer. And you all got it. All right. So what is the role of contracts for the port? The port is like a mini city. We have divisions. We have an engineering division. We have a real estate division, an environmental division, a planning division, emergency response, maritime. We have an IT department, finance. We have, resilience in the seawall, and we have communications. So when you think of how do my professional services match the port, you may think about it in terms of division, but you also can think about it in a way of like, what are services that city workers do not provide? And as I kind of go through these, see if you can think of any examples of what that might mean. Something that's highly specialized. So an example might be specific endangered species or native plant experts or biologists. Lead abatement or hazardous materials testing or coastal engineering, something that's highly specialized. Something that there's an inconsistent need for, not enough work for a full-time employee. Something like grant writing, photography, petroleum spill cleanup, things we might just need in case of an emergency or a special circumstance. Something that might require third-party review, for example, arbitrage analysis on our finance department, or a peer review of design, engineering, or real estate. Or something that might require equipment that we're unlikely to keep or maintain, for example, dredging. Can anyone think of anything I might have forgotten or something that you can think of? Well, feel free to add it to the chat if you do. So what's coming up soon? The port anticipates advertising as needed engineering services in the next several months, as needed planning environmental services, as needed real estate and economic services, and as needed hazardous materials abatement services. We anticipate awarding up to 4 contracts each with an average of 3 to 4 years. Each contract for the as needed engineering services, we anticipate having the value of $4 million each. For planning and environmental, we anticipate each contract having a total value of $2 million each. As needed real estate, we anticipate each having a value of about $750,000. And for as needed materials abatement services, we are still, we put them out for $300,000 last time, and that will probably increase this time. We're still looking for a number there. So how do I connect with the port? The first thing to do is if you can take a minute and scan this QR code, it will take you to an opt-in form. That opt-in form will automatically get you on the outreach list for the contracts that we let out this year. So go ahead and scan that QR code. And if you've already done that today, you can just put yes into the chat. or if you are doing that now when you're done, because I don't want to skip over anybody, please put into the chat that you're done. So I'll give you a minute and to do that. Another way to connect with the port is we send out email invitations and until the pre-proposal or pre-bid stage. If you want to continue to receive those notifications, just reply back and say, keep me on the list, because otherwise we will take everyone who hasn't replied or didn't come to the pre-proposal off the outreach list. So if you want to stay on, just email and say and confirm that you want to stay on the list. You can attend our office hours every third Wednesday between 4 and 5 p.m. And you can look for our information around our advertisements. I'll talk more about that later through this SF City Partner website and also the Port's website. And new, we now have a professional contracts team specific email, which is proposals@sfport.com. And that will, those emails are checked by the entire contract team. So you can just email us and know that someone will see it right away. Okay. I'm going to move on, but if you need that QR code during the Q&A session, just ask and we can put it right back up. All right, so on the supplier website, you can go to sfcitypartner.sf.org. That's the direct website. And there's 4 different kinds of port-related contracts that get uploaded here. The construction and professional services solicitations are always on here. We don't have any right now, so I can't show you, but there's kind of 2 different indicators that when you look for a construction and professional services solicitation on SF City Partner. Does anyone know what it means when you see EXT PRT? It's a little confusing. It means that you're going to, the bid documents are here in the supplier portal, but you're going to enter your bid or submit your bid proposal through an external email. So you're not going to upload your documents into the system. If you just see PRT, that means that both the solicitation documents are in the system, but you're also going to upload the items into the system. So if you can see on the graphic over here, there's you can see EXT, PUC, EXT, AIR. Those all mean that the advertisement is here, but that you're going to actually submit your bid documents external to the City Partner system. And if you see just PRT, and then the name of the contract, then in that case, you're going to upload those into the system. For general services, you're going to see OCA PRT. And that still means that those services will be provided for the port, but because of our authority under the administrative code, the Office of Contract Administration actually has to do the solicitation for us. So if you see that, that still is a port contract, but it is being solicited through the Office of Contract Administration. And then finally, private developments will be on here. And the way you'll find them is if you can see where the circle is, it says department and non-city departments. That is where you're going to find the private developments on the City Partner website. All right, you can also find a lot of information on our website, on the sfport.com. You can either put the website in that's above in yellow, or you can go to sfport.com and click on projects and programs, and you're going to get all of the private developments that are currently in action at the port. And you click on one. So in this case, just for example, we're going to choose Mission Rock. So you click on the icon, and then you're going to get all kinds of information about, the status of the project. You're going to get, you can go directly to the Mission Rock website. You can find presentations and documents, and you can also find the project manager's direct email. You will not find solicitations or information on solicitations for private projects on the website, but you can get some information about what's moving and the current status on from our website. For public contract opportunities, you can go to sfport.com or you can go directly to the site, which is listed above, sfport.com, click on business and scroll down to contract opportunities, the one with the excavator. And from there, you'll see our direct links. So you'll see current opportunities on the left-hand side. You can see that there's both a current and past contracts. You can see the bid due date. And on the right-hand side, if you went and you clicked on the as-needed technical services for Pier 70 and Mission Rock development projects, the next page over is what you would see. And it's a summary of that project, the direct link to the sourcing event, which will take you directly to the SF City Partner website to download the proposing documents, but it also gives you a little more information. It gives you the expected term, 4 years, the expected value, the LBE sub requirement, and then key dates, including the Zoom information for the pre-proposal conference. So you can find quite a lot of information also on our SF Port website that'll take you directly to the SF City Partner website. So thank you, everyone, and I hope this was helpful. And I would, Tiffany, are there questions in the chat?
We just have one question in the chat from Ann Cervantes. The question is, do the as-needed real estate and economic planners hired by the port hire micro LBE architects and for historic preservation? I think there's also a question from Dulce Morales that Stephanie is going to share with me because my chat disappeared.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tiffany, and thank you, Stephanie. So Anne, there is often a architect or historic preservation scope in several of the as-needed contracts, and so please look at those as they come out. And they also have a there will be an LBE rating bonus that people will be eligible for, and they will also likely have an LBE sub requirement. I can't remember the different sub requirements that the LBE sub requirements from the last series, but there were LBE sub requirements on all of them. So there may be opportunities for team forming or for prime opportunities as well.
That's a good segue into the next question from Dulce Morales. Can small or micro LBEs compete for select as-needed services, or is the port interested in large teams with an as-needed bench, in quotes, bench?
I am not sure how to answer that directly, but there is, because there's our as-needed, each as-needed service is very different than the other. There are LBE primes. There are certainly LBE primes on many of the as-needed professional services contracts, and also JV partnerships. And so we've definitely had LBEs at the prime level and formed JV partnerships on many of the as-needed series. I hope that answers your question. Are there any other questions? Yeah, and we want to say we welcome folks to propose and to form teams.
Fred Jordan is asking us to please send professional services to his office, and we will absolutely do that.
Okay, thank you. We welcome any other questions folks might have, or
don't be shy.
Yeah, don't be shy. And does anyone need me to go back to the QR code? Why don't I just do it just in case? So in case anyone need that QR code, again, it's right here.
Yep, if you scan it with your phone, it takes you to a short survey that will help us make sure that you get the information that is most important to you. The presentations will be posted, the webinars and the presentations will be posted to our website next week, and we'll make sure that we send out a link to all of the participants. I believe that the webinars are transcripted. I don't know if we can provide a separate, like just written transcript, but the webinars will be available.
Thank you, Tiffany.
I don't see any other questions in the chat. And we're welcome to give you all back 20 minutes of your day. We appreciate you for being here, and thank you so much, Elizabeth, for this great presentation.
Thank you, everyone, for coming, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.